The early part of a new NHL season can show us which teams took a big step forward over the off-season. Right now, the Utah Mammoth look like the biggest example of that. People have been expecting the team to take a leap for a while now. It's a rebuild that spans 3 arenas, 3 different team names, and 2 different US states. Now, they're finally settled in, both in an organizational sense and with their on-ice talent. It's a young team that's ready to prove themselves in the league, but are they ready to do it right here, right now? Today, let's take a look at all that's led to the current state of the Utah Mammoth, a team that's been building towards something for years, and may finally be ready to shed the skin of the franchise's past failures. The franchise's last year in Arizona was pretty much just a memorial. A farewell tour to a team everyone knew wasn't going to be good, playing in a 5,000-person arena before they picked up and left Arizona for good. There were some great individual campaigns in there, and Logan Cooley and Guenther showed that they could be pieces for the future, but it was always going to be a future outside of Arizona. The Coyotes were just running out the clock. The first season in Utah was a new beginning, a turnaround that happened super quick. It was 174 days between the last Arizona regular season game and the inaugural puck drop in Utah. 174 days to leave a franchise behind, to adjust to a state 600 miles away in a new NHL arena with new branding. Obviously, tons of work on the organizational level, but that quick shift couldn't have been easy on the players either. There were lots of new faces coming in, joining Utah as if it were any other new franchise. But most of the core was already there by that point. Utah's mostly just picking up the pieces of what Arizona had been building for years now. Cooley and Guenther, for example, proved that they are key to the future of the franchise. Clayton Keller had been a star in the league for years, but reached another level, ranking just outside the top 10 in league scoring. It was a huge team improvement, 12 points better in the standings from Arizona, but still 7 points back of a playoff spot in a race that Utah definitely had the quality to be a part of. The best and most encouraging part of that season was the fact that basically all their star players clearly got better. And this year, so far, it looks like they're taking even another step. The Utah Mammoth are at the top of the Western Conference standings, in the hunt to be the best team in the league. It's still early, and no one's really expecting them to hold strong deep into the season to become the President's Trophy winner. But nobody expected them to start this strong, either. They've beat some real contenders. They've played 2 close games against Colorado, one of the top competitors in their division, including an overtime win. The Wild haven't started great, but part of that being because the Mammoth dropped 6 on them. And with their backup in, against last season's MVP and President's Trophy winners, they've won to push their win streak to 7. Going into the season, an optimistic but realistic goal for the Mammoth would have been to make the playoffs. They're well on their way towards that early, so let's take a look at what exactly it is that's been working for them so well. In late June, Utah made one of the biggest moves of the offseason. They brought in Peterka, a player that helped to solidify a quality top 6. With the addition of Peterka, they've been able to create a new line. Cooley and Guenther played together a fair bit during the previous season. It was a combination that made sense, partnering a great playmaker with a great sniper. That pair's best results, unsurprisingly, came when Keller was the third linemate. The result of that, though, was stacking the 3 best talents on the team on the same line, and with Peterka, they can now spread them better across the top 6. Peterka's playing with Cooley and Guenther now, and Keller gets to be the key focus on the top line. And although it's a small sample size this early, the results apart, for both Keller and Peterka's lines, are actually better. The early star of the season for the Mammoth is Nick Schmaltz. He's probably one of the more overlooked players across the league, someone that's scored around about 60 points each of the past 4 seasons. He's never really had a big role on a great team in his 11-year career, and now he's really getting the chance to prove himself to the rest of the league. Him, along with Keller and Barrett Hayton, make up that other line in Utah's top 6. If there is a weak link there, it's Hayton. The former 5th overall pick isn't trusted in the same way that the others are. He's certainly not a bad player, and still only 25, there's room for him to grow as an NHL center. But long term, if Utah needs a replacement to strengthen an elite offense, they've got things pretty well covered. Across Utah's entire current top 6, everybody is younger than 30. On Cooley's line, everybody is younger than 24, and extended into 2030. The move to Utah lined up perfectly for the Mammoth to get an injection of young talent set to make their mark in the league just as they begin in their franchise's new direction. And that's even going to include players that haven't properly made the roster yet. Each of the last 3 drafts, the franchise has selected a forward within the top 12. The Coyotes' last ever first-round selection was winger Daniil Boo, who is currently producing pretty well in the AHL. 6th overall in 2024 was Tija Ginla, a smart, hardworking center. And 4th overall in 2025 was Caleb Desnoyers, a smart, hardworking center. They didn't necessarily select the absolute highest possible upside guys at the position, but they selected guys with very translatable skill sets, outlining the traits they value and building a very clear culture for the Mammoth. They've got skilled forwards on the roster already. They've also got skilled forwards on the way, centers in particular, which is their biggest remaining need. And with that, they're set up about as well as any team across the NHL for their future up front. Their defense is more of a work in progress. Utah's gotten good goaltending so far this season, but they're winning most of their games outscoring their problems. They're clearly building an identity on the back end too, though. Mikhail Sergachev, who they traded for ahead of the move to Utah, has been their top defenseman for over a year now. 6'3", sturdy, two-way guy. This season, he's played most of his minutes paired with rookie Dmitry Simashev. Simashev, their 2023 6th overall pick, is a 6'5", smooth defensive defenseman. The NHL is his first league hockey outside of Russia, so for the moment, they're sheltering him a bit, getting him up to NHL speed. But he's been good, and the plan for such a high pick is obviously eventually having him in a key role. Maverick Lamoureux is a first-round pick of theirs, maybe a year or 2 away, and he's 6'7". Michael Kesselring, who looked like a key part of their future before they had the opportunity to flip him for Peterka, is 6'4". Bill Armstrong and the Mammoth target and elevate big defensemen through the system. Hockey IQ and size seem to be key traits that they look for in the draft, which permeates all throughout the roster. We know that Utah isn't afraid to make a splash. They've been involved in some substantial trade each of the last few years. Most of that has been in service of creating the type of team they have going right now. Most of their recent high draft picks are still quite a ways away from being impactful NHLers. Their success puts the team ahead of schedule, which is great. The stats will tell you that this offense is legit. They have guys with pretty high shooting percentages, which are bound to regress a little, but they are legitimately generating high-end offensive chances. It'll also tell you that the amount of pucks their goalies are saving right now probably can't continue all season. The defense is, again, still a work in progress. The young guys could improve, and their penalty kill could get better. But they have a legit top pair guy, which is very hard to get, and they could very well have another in Simashev. If they need to add in that department, they're obviously willing to make a splash. There's always plenty of moves that can be made, and we know that Utah's willing to explore them. This is finally a team willing to spend, ready to contend with the best in the West. They're probably not as good as their record suggests. Their current pace would have them winning near 60 games. Few teams in NHL history have been that good. But this is an extremely exciting start for a team and organization that already has lots of the toughest stuff to get in their system. They have a high-end top 6 up front, with a first-line center and superstar winger and captain. They have a top-pairing defenseman, who is still somehow only 27 years old, and the surrounding depth isn't too bad either. The Utah Mammoth have left all their baggage behind. They have a proper name now, a mascot too, that's helping the team form and shape its identity in the NHL. With the start they've had to this season, it's very likely that they make the playoffs. They were seen as a fringe playoff contender going into the year, but they have the chance to become a legit contender already if they can keep up the way they've been playing. Utah, and previously Arizona, have been building to something like this for years. It's been 6 seasons since they made the playoffs. With so much going for them now, they have the opportunity to push forward and build on whatever success they have this season and establish themselves as a top threat in the NHL for years to come.